You probably touch money every day, even when you do not touch money. You open an app, scan a card, look at a price tag, check a balance, calculate rent, count a paycheck that may already be gone before it arrives. Money sits between you and almost everything: food, shelter, clothes, medicine, time, even the feeling of safety. But for most of human history, there was no wallet, no price tag, no bank account, no coin, no bill, no salary, and no little number on a screen telling you what your life was worth today. So, what did ancient humans do before money existed? Did they just stand in a field trying to trade one dead rabbit for one sharp rock, while everyone politely refused because they wanted berries instead? Not exactly. That simple barter story is neat, but real human life was messier, warmer, and much more social. Before money, survival was not usually a private shopping trip. It was a group problem. If someone found honey, killed an animal, gathered roots, made a tool, or knew where water was, that thing mattered to everyone nearby. Food spoiled, children needed feeding, hunters came home unlucky, and nobody could guarantee that tomorrow would be their good day. So, in many small human groups, the first answer was not buying. It was sharing. A hunter did not need a tiny wooden receipt to prove he gave meat to the camp. People saw it. People remembered. The old woman who knew plants remembered. The child watching by the fire remembered. The person who got meat today might be the person who finds water next week. The person who was helped after an injury might later carry a child, guard a fire, or warn everyone about tracks in the mud. In a world without money, memory was a kind of accounting. Not perfect accounting, not a spreadsheet. More like a warm, suspicious, gossip-powered bank. Everyone had a balance, but it was not written in coins. It was written in trust. Who shares? Who takes too much? Who helps when the hunt fails? Who disappears when work gets hard? Who always shows up near the food but never near the problem? Ancient humans may not have had cash, but they absolutely had reputation. This is one reason money is not just a tool for trade. Money is also a tool for dealing with strangers. Inside a small group, you might not need exact prices because you know people. Outside the group, things become harder. If another band arrives with stone from a distant hill, shells from a coast, red ochre, animal hides, or a tool made better than yours, you cannot simply say, "Trust me, I am a nice guy," and walk away with it. So ancient exchange often looked less like a supermarket and more like a relationship. People met, offered gifts, swapped useful things, arranged marriages, shared food, told stories, watched each other carefully, and built a tiny bridge between groups that might otherwise fear each other. A shell could travel far from the sea. A sharp stone could travel far from the mountain. A beautiful bead could move from hand to hand long after the original maker was gone. These objects were not always money in the modern sense. They could be gifts, symbols, favors, promises, status, memory, or proof that two groups had touched each other's worlds. And that is the strange part. Before money, value did not always live inside the object. It lived inside the relationship around the object. A piece of meat was valuable because someone was hungry. A stone blade was valuable because it could cut hide. A shell was valuable because it came from somewhere far away and made a person look connected to a bigger world. A favor was valuable because one day, when your own luck failed, you hoped the group would remember you were not useless. This does not mean ancient life was gentle or fair. Sharing could be forced by pressure. Generosity could be watched. People could argue, cheat, refuse, boast, demand, or punish. If you kept too much food while others were hungry, the problem was not that you broke a contract. The problem was that everyone had eyes. Imagine trying to be greedy in a tiny camp where every person knows your sleeping face. There is no private island, there is no secret bank account, there is just you, the fire, and 20 people slowly noticing that you are eating more than your share. So before money, humans used something older than currency: social pressure. A joke could correct you. A rumor could lower you. Anger could isolate you. Praise could raise you. Respect could make your life easier. Shame could make it harder. The economy was not separate from society. The economy was society. But as human groups grew, moved, traded farther, farmed more, stored grain, built villages, and dealt with strangers, memory became harder. You can remember who owes you a favor in a camp. You cannot easily remember every favor in a town. You can share meat when everyone sees the animal. You cannot easily share a warehouse of grain with people you have never met. This is where counting systems, debts, standard measures, special valuables, and eventually money become powerful. They turn messy human obligations into something more portable. They let value move without the whole relationship coming along. Early money did not look like the clean paper bills and shiny coins in your pocket. Across history, people used shells, cattle, beads, metal, grain, cloth, salt, and other objects to measure or move value. Later, coinage made value even more visible and standardized. A stamped piece of metal could say, "Someone powerful says this counts." That little stamp changed the world. With money, you did not need to know the person who made your bread. You did not need to be related to the person who sold you cloth. You did not need your whole community to remember that you were owed a favor. You could carry trust in your hand. You could turn labor into a number, goods into a price, and strangers into customers. This was incredibly useful. It allowed bigger trade, cities, taxes, wages, markets, armies, long distance exchange, and all the complicated systems that now make modern life possible. Money helped humans cooperate at a scale that memory alone could never handle. But it also did something quieter. It separated need from relationship. Before money, asking for food was not only an economic act, it was a social act. It said, I am part of this group. I have been seen. I have helped before, or I may help later. With money, the question changes. Do you belong? Becomes, can you pay? That is not always cruel. Money can make life less personal in a good way. You can buy bread without begging. You can work for someone without being family. You can leave one group and survive in another place. You can trade with people who do not know your history. But modern humans live inside the extreme version of this system. Now, almost everything has a number attached. Your time has an hourly rate, your shelter has rent, your education has fees, your body has medical bills, even your attention is bought and sold by screens. You may live among millions of people and still feel that survival is between you and a number. Ancient humans had many problems we should not romanticize. Hunger, injury, violence, disease, cold, and danger were real. But before money, the question of survival was often answered through bodies near bodies, through memory, obligation, sharing, pressure, and trust. You did not survive because you had a balance. You survived because you were woven into people. Maybe that was stressful in its own way. Everyone knew your business, everyone remembered your failures, everyone could demand something from you. There was less privacy, less independence, less escape. But there was also less of one very modern feeling, the fear that if the number reaches zero, the world stops caring. Money did not invent value. Humans already had value in food, tools, land, stories, skill, beauty, loyalty, courage, and care. Money did something stranger. It made value detachable. It let value leave the person, leave the relationship, leave the memory, and sit inside an object, a token, a mark, a number. And once value became a number, humans could build worlds larger than any tribe could imagine. The modern world is built on that magic, it is also haunted by it. Because somewhere under the cards, banks, apps, prices, and paychecks, the older human system is still there. We still want people to remember us. We still feel shame when we take too much. We still feel warmth when someone gives without counting. We still know deep down that a life cannot be fully priced. Maybe ancient humans did not live before value. They lived before value became so easy to separate from care. And maybe the strange part is not that they survived without money. Maybe the strange part is that we now need money to reach things humans once reached through each other.